The first ever National Gaming Conference was indeed something good happening to all stakeholders in the lottery business. Organized by the National Lottery Regulation Commission (NRLC), with headquarters in Abuja, an agency under the presidency. The two-day conference, which held at the prestigious Eko Hotels and Suites, Lantana and Orchid Hall, had in attendance the Honourable Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, distinguished Senator George Akume, the Senate Committee Chairman on Sports, Senator Obinna Agba, Honourable Member, Federal House of Representatives, who is also Chairman, House Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs, Honourable Akin Alabi, Chairman, Governing Board of the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, Alhaji Abdulfatai, Ibikunle, members of the Governing Board, the incumbent Director General of the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, Mr. Lanre Gbajabiamila, Dr. Mrs. Stella Maduka, Director overseeing the Office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Chairman, Board of Trustees of National Lottery Trust Fund, Honourable Etta Christopher, ACP Oludotun Odubono, OPS, Lagos State, representing the Honourable Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, Akin Odumosu, Honourable Justice Faji Olayinka, Administrative Judge, Lagos Division, and Justice Uche Agomo, Administrative Judge, Ibadan Division, representing the Honourable Chief Judge, Federal Court, Honourable Justice Tehemba Soso Seni Adio, SAN, CEOs and top management of gaming companies who also doubled as major sponsors of the event, gaming operators, revenue and tax experts, legal practitioners, media practitioners and the press, and other eminent creme de la creme from all walks of life. With the theme, Repositioning the Gaming Industry for Better Performance and Revenue Enhancement for Stakeholders in the 21st Century, the scientifically organized conference kicked off on Wednesday, 28th July, with the national anthem and the second stanza as the opening prayer.
Direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty heights attain to build a nation where peace and
a hearty formal welcome address by the charismatic Director General of the National Lottery Regulatory Commission (NRLC), Mr. Lanre Gbajabiamila.
Good afternoon, all. The Honourable Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, His Excellency, Senator Dr. George Akume, the Senate Committee Chairman on Sports, Distinguished Senator Obinna, the House Committee Chairman on Intergovernmental Affairs, Honourable Oloye, Akin, members of the National Assembly here present, the Chairman, Governing Board of the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, Alhaji Abdulfatai, Ibikunle, the Chairman, Board of Trustees, National Lottery Trust Fund, the Executive Secretary, National Lottery Trust Fund, representatives of the Lagos State Lotteries Board, Chief Executive of the Lottery and Gaming Businesses in Nigeria, representatives of sister agencies and other governmental affairs here present, captains of the industry, gentlemen of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. To the glory of Almighty God, it is an honor and privilege especially to welcome everyone to the Maiden National Gaming Conference of the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, taking place today and tomorrow here at the Eko Hotel and Suites in Lagos. I'm particularly delighted because this gaming conference had been in the making for a few years since I assumed duty as the Director General of the National Lottery Regulatory Commission. but other crucial matters, including the COVID-19 pandemic, caused delays and setbacks in organizing this event. The pandemic affected the global economy in particular, and many industry stakeholders whose presence and support we needed for the success of the gaming conference. We are here today grateful to God and to everyone present for contributing to the actualization of this event. The National Lottery Regulatory Commission is committed sustainably for transparent gaming driven by the principles of responsible gaming, professionalism, and leading technologies for social and economic development, and to meet the diverse needs of industry stakeholders and government officials. We have been working on the amendment of the existing lottery laws to provide legislative and regulatory framework that best serves the industry. It is common knowledge that the industry has evolved and adopted technology to optimize operations so much that the excellent laws do not reflect the reality or trend of the present-day Nigerian gaming industry. We are optimistic that before the end of the year, the National Gaming Bill will be passed into law. We believe that this new law will lay to rest contentious matters and suffice to accommodate current or future technologies, advancement, and changes within the industry. In the same line, with global practice and the vision to promote the principle for Nigeria, by Nigeria, and to improve good causes fund for national development, the Commission has set in motion plans to launch the Nigerian National Game before the end of 2021. The launch will further boost the faith of stakeholders and the public in the integrity, transparency, and accountability of indigenous games and reduce preference for foreign games. The National Lottery Regulatory Commission, as an independent arbiter, will conduct the national game draws for sale and distribution by licensed national operators and broadcast the draws live on national television weekly, giving the public a chance to witness the process. The theme of the gaming conference, repositioning the gaming industry for better performance and revenue enhancement for the stakeholders in the 21st century, was carefully chosen to convey the thinking and the vision of the Commission and to reflect current realities of the Nigerian gaming industry. Consistently worked on the actualization of a central monitoring system platform to ensure a real-time monitoring and promote accountability, transparency in the gaming sector. It gives me the pleasure to report that the process for deployment of this central monitoring system is at an advanced phase and should be concluded before the end of the year. The deployment of the central monitoring system will give the Commission access to real-time monitoring of gaming transactions of every operator and ensure revenue assurance for government, operators, agents, and players alike. It aligns with the federal government's initiative to diversify the economy and provide funding from non-crude oil sources. To reposition the industry for better performance, stakeholders cannot afford to be at a cross-purpose. Instead, we must all work towards a common cause. This unity has been the driving force for the Commission in seeking collaboration with sister agencies and regulators of complementary services to the gaming industry. This collaboration has resulted in partnership, policy amendment and implementation, knowledge and data sharing, and improved awareness about the gaming sector. We recognize these contemporary regulators as partners in progress and have dedicated a significant part of the conference agenda to do presentations around the agencies, all of whom have graciously accepted to attend and participate in this event. The industry will undoubtedly benefit from an understanding by all parties of each role, obligations and expectations of each agency from gaming sectors. I implore us to take advantage of this platform to freely express, share, and ultimately agree on the best course of action for our emerging industry. We have carefully curated this gaming conference agenda to address topical issues in the Nigerian gaming industry, directly impacting the operations of numerous gaming operators. We intend to adopt a communique at the end of the summit with action plans, a timeline for actualization, and ultimately solutions to the continuous issues, misconceptions within and about the Nigerian gaming industry. The Commission plans to make this conference an annual event where stakeholders can have a platform for continued dialogue, appraisals of the trends of the industry, and a networking area for better lottery and gaming industry in Nigeria. Let me appeal to the planning committee and participants to abide by the time allotted and follow the schedule to make this event enlightening and captivating and worthwhile. In conclusion, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to make your attendance at this gaming conference not just informative, but also to maximize the opportunity to network and make connections beyond these 2 days. I wish you a happy celebration, and thank you all for listening. God bless our industry. God bless the National Lottery Regulatory Commission. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Setting the conference on course, special guest of honor, former Governor of Benue State and former Distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic, the Honourable Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Senator George Akume. The Minister supervising the National Lottery Regulatory Commission in his opening address urged participants to see the gaming conference as a call for action.
I am pleased to be here this afternoon with you, and I welcome all participants to this National Game Conference, the first of its kind in our country. Our gathering is long overdue, given our current economic conditions. However, I am thankful that we are able to meet today, and all of you will have to celebrate this achievement because we have done it together. It is my belief that this occasion presents yet another opportunity to fulfill our common objectives. For almost a century, gaming has shaped not just our country but the whole world. An entire industry was developed and continues to thrive even in rough economic times. Life is a game, play to win. Games don't die, they respond, so we are told. This National Gaming Conference will require frank discussions, firm commitments, and dedicated actions. If we succeed, and I believe we will, then we shall achieve today's theme and truly reposition the gaming industry for better performance and revenue enhancement for stakeholders in the 21st century. I therefore urge you all to see this conference as a call for action, as much as it is a call for effective dialogue, exchange of ideas and bankable resolutions. The theme for this conference is apt, and the topics slated for discussion during the conference are germane to the current situation concerning the gaming industry in Nigeria. This is an idea whose time has come, indeed.
He also reminded stakeholders of the strategic importance of the conference to the development of lottery industry in Nigeria, while challenging the National Lottery Regulatory Commission (NRLC), its sister agency, the National Lottery Trust Fund, and all stakeholders at the conference to help find answers to some salient questions begging for answers in the fortune of lottery in Nigeria.
We all know that poverty is the prime cause of youth unemployment, civil agitation, and insecurity. We all know that significant funds are needed to confront these problems. Why is the gaming industry not doing more? Why has the industry contributed less than 10 billion naira to the National Lottery Trust Fund in the past 10 years? Why are we non-revenue generating measures not implemented? Where is the national game and other foreign games? Where is the central monitoring system? Where is the enforcement against illegal gaming operations in Nigeria? And finally, what is the revenue generated from gaming transactions in Nigeria? The potential for optimal performance is as glaring as the challenges. We're a nation of over 200 million people with a vibrant youth large. Nigerians are among the world's passionate sports fans supporting global sporting events. The 2019 report indicated gaming industry in Nigeria, including international stakeholders, generated in excess of billions and billions of dollars. Yet revenues to government did not exceed 1 billion naira for the same period. This is not only disappointing, it is unsustainable and unacceptable. Consequent upon this, and in line with the 2021 Appropriation Act, the government has considered acquiring the central monitoring system, the gaming industry in Nigeria. CMS will enable the Commission and its sister agency, National Lottery Trust Fund, to perform maximally in their regulatory functions and provisions of lottery good causes to Nigeria, respectively.
I want to congratulate the organizers of this conference, the DJ and all his colleagues, and all the participants, particularly the CEOs of all the operators, because in the game of football, we said without the owners of the club, the referees have no job to do. I congratulate all the operators, and in fact all the participants. I want to promise on behalf of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that if there's any area our attention is required, we won't hesitate to do the needful. I congratulate all of you, and I wish all the participants a good time. Thank you. God bless everybody.
The curtain raiser was a keynote speech by the founder of Law Alliance, Yahaya Mekori, who delved into the heart of the matter by highlighting most of the common problems in the gaming business: disobedience to central control, multiple taxation, conflicting control regulations between state and federal. He recommended some solutions, including the adoption of the South African model, among others, and the need to develop affordable local software for gaming.
It has been a long journey for many of us, from being antagonized, confronted, harassed, to where it has become a central topic of discourse in national affairs. In short, I want to add one more thing. The stigmatization has fallen off. I couldn't tell my mother-in-law that I was consulting in the gambling industry just 8 years ago. So we thank God for where we are right now. We talk about the growth. It's obvious that the industry has grown exponentially. We talk about the big figures. Some people say 1 billion people, 1 billion has been bet. Nigerians bet about $1 billion a day. There are all sorts of figures being bandied everywhere. And you can look at all the indices. Several things happen. Operators, one of my key operators is now in government, and several other people have taken different positions in government. In short, Donald Trump, which you know was the immediate past president of America, came up from this industry. So the platforms for so many things, and we are lucky to be here. But what's the value of this industry? We should ask now, what's the value of this industry? Is it $1 billion? Is it $2 billion? $3 billion? $4 billion? What is it? I have my own figures, and since I have the microphone, I can tell you what I think it is. It's far from being the truth, but at least you can work with it. I think about now we are between $3.5 billion to about $4 billion. And you know what? We are scratching the surface. We are focusing on the wrong things. We are focusing about the gross gaming revenue. We are missing on the key issues. We are focusing on licensing, taxes. That is not the industry. We need to understand how the pyramid works. In the pyramid, the gross gaming revenues are just a tip of it. what you need to understand is what's behind the foundation, what's beneath the foundation, what you see beyond what you cannot see. And if you talk about that, then we start talking of service providers, software, events. Let's talk about this event. The first event we had here was 4 or 5 years ago. We had it with ICE, promoters of ICE. Before we knew it, we were already in South Africa, having 4,000 people in attendance. Even just the event itself is part of the industry. It's a humongous revenue stream. ICE in London attracts about 30,000 people within a period of 3 days. Just imagine what the figures are. So we talk about software developers, graphic designers, broadband. We talk about training. It's a humongous industry beneath that whole figure you guys see. But I'm going to focus on just 3 things. We're talking about repositioning the industry. 3 things I want to focus on. 1 is software. And that is a big problem. Most of the revenues leaving this country is on software. And we're not focused on it. And yet we have so many developers who have the capacity to do magic. Even the most basic gaming engine, we import it. Funding other professions, depleting our economy, we need to focus on software. Let's look at the South African model. I think it's a beautiful model. It's a template you can work with. We can start with that, and then we can negotiate what needs to be added or removed. National Lottery needs to be the regulator of regulators. That's 1. 2, the licensing that are already operating, we should allow them run out. Thirdly, National Lottery should transform into being a single national lottery. Let the states handle whatever they're handling. You have the central monitoring system. Every state must connect to it. In South Africa, the National Gambling Board there is being funded by the provinces. They put money together and fund the provinces. So like I said, National Lottery has a key role to play moving forward. We just need to know how to align the regulatory framework.
A coffee break followed for half an hour, and participants reconvened for first day plenary containing 3 papers. The first paper in the plenary after coffee break was Understanding Financial Regulatory Obligation of Gaming Operators. This session had active participation of game operators, regulators, and Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit (NFIU), among others. A lot of arguments on how much exactly goes to the NRLC, NLTF out of the big pie. Could they take a percentage of the gross, or what remains as profit after paying winnings? The next paper, Legislature Reforms for the Gaming Industry in the 21st Century, had a robust participation from panelists, which included a current member of the House of Representatives and Chair, House Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs, Honourable Akin Alabi, who had also been a game operator. The interactive session concluded on the need for an all-encompassing legislation. Honourable Akin Alabi then gave the good news that a bill on comprehensive reform of the gaming industry has actually passed second reading in the House. Now, with a technical committee and public hearing will soon follow. The challenge now is for all stakeholders to come and present their views at the public hearing.
A lot of those in the industry know me because I've been on both sides as an operator and now in government, so I know both sides. I know what's going on, I know what the industry needs, I know what the operators need, I know what the government needs, and I think we can all meet in the middle and find an amicable solution to all that we want. And I can tell you, I can promise you that a lot is going on. Even though this is the first official initiative by the government, I can tell you a lot has been going on behind the scenes, and most especially about the gaming bill. We must enact a new law that is going to serve the government and serve the operators and serve the stakers as well, all the stakeholders, so that we can have a thriving industry.
The third paper, Developing Local Technology for the Gaming Industry, a Possibility or Myth. Dr. E.C. Okejiri, NOTAP Director, Technology Transfer, gave a 15-minute presentation before the discussion.
NOTAP is a government agency that was established in 1979 to regulate the inflow of foreign technology into Nigeria. When NOTAP was established in the late 70s, it was to essentially use the foreign technologies coming into Nigeria to develop the local technological capacity. During the oil boom of the 1970s, a lot of technologies, both finished goods, raw materials, and etc. were coming into Nigeria because we had money then. Government felt it was right to establish an agency to look into these technologies with a view to only allowing those ones that will only come to strengthen our capacity and do not come to hinder the local technological efforts. It was also meant to bring sanity in the various components of technology coming into the country so that there will be a platform where the government can monitor what is coming in and then use that as a basis for developing our own technology. When before an agreement is brought into NOTAP for registration, the submitting party, which has to be the local party or the licensee or the transferee based in Nigeria, has to fill some forms and submit some documents with the application, with the technology transfer agreement that the company seeks to register. It is important to emphasize that it's the local company that brings the agreement to NOTAP for registration, not the foreign party. So the office received the application with supporting documents and then does evaluation to know whether that agreement is registrable or not. In doing the evaluation, we look at the agreement under three perspectives. The first is the legal perspective, to make sure that the clauses in the technology transfer agreement between a Nigerian licensee and a foreign licensor are in consonance with our laws. There are no contradictions. If there are, then the agreement has to be amended so that they will not contravene our laws. There is also the economic perspective, which seeks to make sure that the technology, first of all, the fees that are to be paid to the foreign licensor in the agreement are commensurate with the services being provided. Also, there are no tie-in clauses, whereby the local party is restricted from implementing certain policies or sourcing raw materials, sourcing technologies from specific sources tied to the licensor, and some other things that will inhibit the efficient operation of the local party. And then there is the technical content or the technological content or perspective, which we use to determine the actual service the foreign parties to provide to Nigerians. The Act empowers NOTAP not to register any technology if there is capacity in Nigeria to provide that technology. So, when an agreement comes to the office, one of the things we do is to make sure that we go through the agreement to make sure that the scope of services are beyond Nigerians to provide before it is registered. Otherwise, it will hinder the development and growth of local technological capacity. So we take all these three perspectives into consideration before approving, rejecting, or recommending an agreement for approval or amendment before registration. And then when an agreement is registered, a certificate is issued to the local party, which will help the local party remit the technology transfer fees to the foreign party who supply the technology.
Eminent discussants include Gregory Atakpo, Physics Grandmaster of Information Technology Security and Management, experienced bookmaker Kosi Ukawanke of BetKing, Sholagbade Shogbetun of African Law Practice, Engineer Bako Wakil FNSE, FNIREE, Director Tech Standard and Network Integrity, National Communications Commission, NCC, with Godswill Obioma moderating. The eminent discussants x-rayed the various problems and obstacles encountered by the industry, especially relying on borrowed foreign technology. The consensus, however, was that NOTAP especially and stakeholders should encourage development of local software for gaming if it was achievable with banking apps. Then it's not a myth. It is possible and achievable in the gaming industry. Day 1 ended with lunch for everyone and a lot of interactions. Day 2, the final day, started easily with a wrap-up of Day 1's events presented by Director of Licensing and Operations of the NRLC, Henry Uwade.
I'd like to, with all sense of humility and respect, welcome all of us back to plenary this morning. Chairman, sir, and board members and DGs, thank you for standing with us and staying through the program yesterday. I will just try to pick some few words. I'm not here to represent what was presented yesterday. But suffice to say that yesterday, this country has started a dialogue. Yesterday, we started with the presentation by the DG in welcoming people to the conference. And seeing the theme centered around revenue generation, DG was very optimistic in saying that the national game will come into existence before the end of 2021. And that again will enhance the revenue generation accruing to the trust fund and the nation at large. And of course, his presentation set the mood for the discussion. And of course, we went into discussion talking about understanding financial regulatory obligations of gaming operators. And the discussants from NFIU, from SCUMO, from EFCC, under discussing this topic, being moderated by our very own Fanika Akeju of Vice Solicitor, did a very good job and eye-opening discussions were presented. And then, of course, our very own Honourable Akin Alabi, discussing with Sheni Adios SAN, did an excellent job talking about legislative reforms for the gaming industry in the 21st century. We know that the laws we have are at are competing with each other. But there is a robust gaming bill currently being considered in the House, and public hearing is slated for December, as stakeholders have been urged to come out, speak their minds, and protect their respective interests. Developing local technology for the Nigerian gaming industry, a reality or a myth. The discussion yesterday taken by Mr. Gregory Atapo, Mr. Tosi Akarapo, Engineer Bako of NCC, and the topic of moderated by Godswill Obioma II was an interesting eye-opener for us. All of them agreed that in effect, majorly is that the bulk of the cost is passed down to the end user. And that began to put a lot of stress on the revenue that the operators have to do a proper gaming business.
The first paper for discussion was the role of corporate social responsibility, CSR, in the gaming industry. Malam Abubakar Nakunda, Director Operations, National Lottery Trust Fund, gave a 15-minute presentation before joining the discussants.
Chairman, National Lottery Regulatory Commission, sir, the Director General, National Lottery Regulatory Commission, board members, National Lottery Regulatory Commission, board members, National Lottery Trust Fund, all protocols duly observed. I'm standing here before you to simply read a speech that ought to have been presented by my boss, the Executive Secretary, National Lottery Trust Fund, Dr. Bello Maigari, and it reads thus. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for inviting me to speak at this historic occasion of National Gaming Conference organized by our sister agency, the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, and more importantly, to be part of the conversation sharing ideas on the role of corporate social responsibility in the gaming industry. Distinguished guests, I see this event as a constructive engagement to make Nigerian lottery and gaming industry work in a manner that is systematic, coordinated, and impactful, where everyone has a stake in making it a huge success. Today's conference, with the theme, Repositioning the Gaming Industry for Better Performance and Revenue Enhancement for Stakeholders in the 21st Century, will no doubt address critical issues that require the active collaboration and cooperation of all stakeholders to support the implementation of feasible and sustainable frameworks for the good of the industry in line with international best practice. Distinguished guests, we will recall the National Lottery Act NLA 2005 empowers the National Lottery Trust Fund to take custody of a percentage of the proceeds of all national lottery operations in Nigeria and utilize same in the execution of good cause projects across the country for the benefit of the Nigerian people. Section 40 of the Act lists the lottery good cause projects covered by the mandate to include projects for the advancement, upliftment, and promotion of sports development, education, social services, public welfare and relief, and the management of natural disasters in Nigeria. Since the inception of the trust fund some 15 years ago, no effort is spared by the current management to actualize these mandates, and these had more often brought a lot of friction and misunderstanding. For instance, the WLA recognizes that CSR should ideally cover every aspect of a lottery's activities and be governed by relationships with its stakeholders. In the same vein, lotteries may increasingly need to provide material evidence to support their moral and ethical values underpinning their operations, which must be tailored towards sustainable economic, environmental, and social performance goals. These all-encompassing standards has led most jurisdictions to domesticate the WRA-RGF operational frameworks for benefit of its citizenry. And this is what the National Lottery Trust Fund is seeking to achieve in its Lottery Good Causes program. In no distant future, if I may cite as examples, also in nearby Niger Republic, for instance, proceeds of lottery were used to build boreholes, fight desert encroachment, and many others. In Europe and Asia also, the same goal applies. For example, the hosting of the London 2012 Olympic Games was funded by the United Kingdom from the proceeds of lottery. Building of Ivy League institutions like the Harvard University and so on. From our beginning in 2005, I make bold to state that this agency has made giant strides in implementing several good cause projects across the country, whilst ensuring that these legacies remain sustainable and shared among Nigerians equitably with due regard to geopolitical consideration now and for future generations.
Eminent discussants at this session included Chief Francois Chidia, MD, CEO of RNS Lotto, Okechukwu Oduma, Director, Monitoring and Enforcement, NRLC, Rep of Nigeria Bookmakers, Rep of Baba Ijebu, and so on. The main issue in this session was how much CSR is done by regulators and operators could be seen and appreciated by the common man. This was a very explosive session that brought out a lot of contributions from stakeholders, especially major game operators. Baba Ijebu, a major game operator and one of the sponsors of the event, narrated several efforts in CSR, including educational scholarships, donations of buildings to public institutions, and so on. RS Lotto MD CEO, Chief Francois Chidiak, recalled donation of food items running to hundreds of millions of naira to their agents at festive times. Particular mention was made of massive tons of rice purchased from local farmers as a token of patriotism, apart from donation of buildings for the police, and so on. Another game operator mentioned the particular employment of disabled or physically challenged persons in a gaming outfit as another form of CSR. A lot of heat was generated, however, when the Director of Operations, National Lottery Trust Fund, listed the number of CSR projects done by the Trust Fund across the country. Questions were asked relating to the parameters used for distribution of the projects. Malam Abubakar Nakwanda succeeded in showing records of projects in different geopolitical regions of the country, while lamenting that lack of funds had not allowed the trust fund to publicize these projects and also incapacitated the trust fund from embarking on long-lasting legacy projects like stadia, universities, hospitals, and so on. Copious references were made to Olympic Games in the UK, stadia and universities and health facilities, and in the United States, funded by lottery proceeds. When will Nigeria have such legacy projects? Suggestions were also made that the Lottery Trust Fund should incorporate and display the logos of some of the major brands in the projects. And since these brands are popular, the people can easily recognize and connect them with the projects. This interesting and highly interactive session really showcased CSR as the heart of the gaming industry. The next event was a PowerPoint presentation by the Head of Legal Department NRLC, Mrs. Oloye Esquire, which dwelt on responsible gaming and player protection.
It comprises of several policies and requirements that apply to gaming. Stakeholders to make sure they respect the highest standards of quality and offers safe user experience that protects people or players from the potential negative consequences of gaming. It's a set of social responsibility initiatives by the gaming industry, including governments, regulators, operators, and vendors, to ensure the integrity and fairness of the gaming operations and to promote awareness of potential harms associated with gaming. Responsible gaming is very critical and important in the industry. It is aimed at protecting lottery players and indeed to encourage operators to do the right thing for players and the larger community. Responsible gaming is so crucial that the World Lottery Association in 2006 formalized its policies in corporate social responsibilities by adopting responsible gaming principles and a responsible gaming framework aimed at protecting lottery players around the world. These principles acknowledge that lottery operators, regulators, and other stakeholders play an important role in helping to prevent problem gambling among individuals who participate in games of chance.
This very educative presentation dealt extensively with sensitive issues, including how to stem underage participation in gaming, tracking and curing addiction, protecting players' identity, and the stress of handling frivolous petitions and other distractions disturbing NRLC from concentrating its resources on the main business of regulation. The next session elicited a lot of interest and excitement from all stakeholders. Understanding Taxation in the Gaming Industry featured eminent experts like Federal Inland Revenue Service FIRS Executive Chairman, represented by the Group Lead, Strategic Tax Operation, Mr. Matthew Bonjubola, Lagos State Internal Revenue Service LIRS incumbent Executive Chairman Mr. Ayo Lawal, with a taxation lawyer Kehinde Akib Olaleye moderating this interesting session, identified and proffered solutions to highly sensitive issues like double taxation, arbitrary taxation, and so on, and who or which taxation authority should take what. Developing regulatory framework for financial transactions in the gaming industry opened the plenary after coffee break. The critical role of the banks, especially the Central Bank of Nigeria, in provision of foreign exchange and conflicts of dues to regulators. The last paper for the two-day conference, Resolving Multiplicity of Regulations in the Gaming Industry, X-Trade, Conflicts of Authorities and Interests in the Gaming Industry, the Proper Laws to Obey, the Critical and Worrisome Interventions of Agencies like EFCC, CBN inspecting operators' books aside NRLC, roles of gaming employees' unions, and so on. The need for greater collaboration by all parties, institution of effective central monitoring system, commitment to probity and patriotism came out of the discussion. Lunch was served and the closing ceremonies featured the presentation of a 6-point communique that pointed a new way forward and touching vote of thanks by Mr. Lottery himself, Director General of the NRLC, Lanre Gbajabiamila, who gallantly accepted responsibility that there have been challenges, graciously accepted all the criticisms of the stakeholders, and boldly expressed confidence that the NRLC is poised to activate all resources at its disposal to bring up a revolution that will usher in a new day and new fortune that will make the national lottery and the gaming industry a pivotal contributor to the economy of Nigeria.
This couldn't have happened without everybody here present. So I think we all deserve a round of applause. But having gone through the session today, I felt that it's really very necessary that I have a few words before we all leave here for our various destinations. So all protocol observed, starting with the chairman of the governing board, Abdulfatai, Ibikunle, and his governing board directors, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I will start this closing remarks by expressing my deep appreciation to each and every one of you here for your patience, support, and cooperation towards the success of this very important conference. I make bold to say that it's been a very, very fruitful 2 days of mind-rubbing, exchange of views, and cross-validation of ideas as part of our modest contributions to the growth and development of our industry. A former US President, John F. Kennedy, once said, and I quote, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them." End of quote. This discussion and paper presentation during this conference have been very relevant to and bordering on all real challenges being faced by this industry. And I'm part of the challenges, because I've been identified by various people, even upon my announcement to be the next the Director General as of 2017. I got a lot of lectures, a lot of messages, goodwill messages, that you need to save this industry from collapse. I knew that. I started some things in Lagos State when I was there for about over 10 years. Against the same commission that I stand here supporting and regulating. But I never relented. I'd never relented in knowing what is due and what needs to be done. I think one of my directors did identify what I did on my arrival at the Lottery Commission. I engaged all the stakeholders, especially the state regulators. We invited them to the office. We started everything. And a lot of them are very happy about the initiative of carrying them along because they felt they were never recognized. The discussions and paper presentation of this conference, like I said, is very relevant and borders on the real challenges being faced by this industry. You will agree with me that at this event is a stitch in time. We have shared new ideas and listened, and will ensure that the communique just read from this gathering is fully implemented, just as the Honourable Minister, Senator Dr. George Akume had promised yesterday. All the discussants and speakers had a common message, and they are in agreement that the synergy is the key to the growth and development of our dear industry in Nigeria. Therefore, the relevance of cooperations and collaborations need not be overemphasized. Worthy of mention from this conference is that the operators are willing to further collaborate with the National Lottery Trust Fund, which was very pleasant to hear, and to do more on the areas of corporate social responsibilities, while the National Trust Fund is working on doing a notable legacy project that will attribute to the gaming proceeds by the Harvard University of the United States. The tax regulators also have agreed to sit on the round table with the relevant stakeholders and do a technical review to proffer a solution to the issues of taxation within the gaming industry. We should also develop a national policy on how the multiplicity of regulations and taxation in the industry will be resolved. And like I said earlier, we have a good working relationship with the National Assembly, and we go make sure we engage them as well, because they are, like they said, some of the speakers said, they have representatives from the 36 states of the Federation. To the management team, for all their tireless efforts to ensure that we had a good outing in the last 2 days. I thank you all very much, wherever you are. In order for the theme of this conference also bordered around revenue. At the end of the day, we're all responsible as leaders, as regulators of the industry, to generate revenue for your states and also for the federal government of Nigeria. But we need to all know and identify our roles. So my dear distinguished members, it is time to go back to our respective destinations. It is therefore my favorite prayers that the Almighty God would lead us all safely back to our various destinations. Amen. God bless the gaming industry. God bless the National Lottery Regulatory Commission. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
At the end of 2 days of frank talks, forensic analysis of issues and hearty discussions, the consensus reached in the 6-point communique is a testament of hope that the gaming industry is at a turning point to a positive revolution that will reposition the industry as a pivotal revenue generator in the national economy and a veritable catalyst of accelerated development in Nigeria and renewed prosperity for all stakeholders. That's the legacy dream projects of stadia, hospitals, educational institutions, and many more are achievable in no distant time under the watchful guidance of the brilliant team at the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, led by its dynamic, irrepressible, and pragmatic Director General, Lanre Gbajabiamila, Mr. Lottery. No doubt, something good just happened at the first ever National gaming conference of the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, and it's certain that luck is going to shine on Nigeria.